Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is one that I had a really difficult time making. So this video is going to be if I could only keep 10 dolls, which 10 dolls would I keep? And this is kind of like something that I always wonder about other people. Like if there was some situation in your life. So for me, for example, I kind of think like if I absolutely had to downsize and I were only allowed to keep 10 dolls, or say my husband and I decided to permanently move to Costa Rica, which is where he's from, and there's not a lot of space there at our house for dolls. So, and also like getting them there would be difficult. So the thought is kind of like, what are the absolute 10 essentials in my collection that I would have to keep? So I kind of stuttered over that, right? There are people sometimes who will post and say, I'm leaving the hobby and I'm selling everything. And they do that, and I don't know if they keep any dolls themselves, or I've only known one person that actually sold like every single doll she had and didn't keep anything. For me, I never stopped liking dolls as a kid, so I would never leave the hobby. It's not just a hobby for me, it's a lifestyle. So I will always have dolls regardless of my situation, you know, barring any apocalyptic sort of event, which who knows, but you know, barring any sort of that kind of thing, I will always have dolls. So I thought it would be cool to make this list, or fun, and like really too for myself examining what do I value in my dolls? What do I value in my doll collection? Like what's important to me? And so that kind of helped me narrow this stuff down. I actually made a list of 20. So I have 20 dolls that I would try really hard to take all 20 of them, or to keep all 20 of them. So I think I might do a part 2 and tell you the other 10, because it was really hard to just narrow it down to 10. when you're like me and I have more dolls. I don't know how many dolls I have. I saw a meme that was like, if you know how many records you have, you don't have enough. And I was like, yeah, that applies for dolls. Like if you know how many dolls you have, you don't have enough. But I don't know how many I have. I have a lot. But if I had to put, if I had to say only 10, these are the 10. So without saying a lot more, because I feel like I've already rambled a lot, let's jump right in. And I do want to say I made a few rules for myself. So I just lied. I'm going to ramble a little more. I made a few rules for myself. Rule number 1, I could not select multiple of the same type of doll. So I couldn't select more, like multiples from the same artist. If I pick one artist doll, that's the only one I'm allowed to choose from that artist, just so that I have a range of diversity, or brand. So like I can't have multiple American Girl dolls on the list. So I can't have multiple Barbies on the list. So I made those rules for myself to kind of like even make it kind of makes it, did it make it easy? I would say it made it easier for me to pick, because if I could only have one per artist, because some of my artists, I have my favorite artists out there, I'd want to take all their dolls, but if I could only take one, these are the ones from those subsets of my collection that I would choose. So those are the rules that I have. And I also want to say that necessarily these aren't my favorite dolls, or they're not the dolls that I get the most playtime with. But what I realized through going through this list is I'm a very sentimental person. So I'm very much emotionally attached to my things. There's probably some sort of disorder for that. So a lot of what I chose was based highly on emotion. So anyway, all that being said, now let's get to the list and look at, and they're not in order. They're not in order of like who I would take first. I just made 10. I put them in order. I mean, I didn't put them in, there's no order. This is such a disorganized video. Anyway, they're not in order of like which one I like the best, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah. So now let's get started. Number 10 on my list is my Smart Doll Summer. And as I pulled her out of the shelf, I realized like this is really drives home the point that I don't actually play with her a lot anymore. Some of my other Smart Dolls get a little more attention. I haven't changed her in probably, I would say it's probably been like 2 years or so since I've changed her. So now that I've pulled her out, I've got to give her a little bit of love today off camera after the video's over. But this doll, first of all, I love Smart Dolls. So again, my rule, I could only choose one doll. Had a really hard time deciding between her and Justice. I think Justice and Fortitude I love them all, actually. Like, I love all my smart dolls. But she is the one that is very sentimentally important to me. So we went to Japan in 2019. We went to Japan. It's already been 6 years ago. 6 years ago this month, I got her. Wow. It's your 6th birthday. Did you know that? That just dawned on me. And I went to the Culture Japan store. I got to meet Danny. He put her wig on her for the first time for me. And it was just such an amazing experience because for so many reasons. First of all, to get to meet the creator. The people in the store were extremely nice. It was just a lot of eye candy. You know, there's so few doll stores left in the world that, or at least in the United States, let me say that. There's so few doll stores left that when you get to go to one for a doll that you really have been dreaming about, it's such a treat. It's such a feast for your senses. You know, it's just an incredible experience. And so I had first discovered Smart Doll, I want to say 2016, and I made a thought to myself, I'm going to get my first Smart Doll in Japan. Like, that's what I want to do. 3 years later, we went and I got her. And so I love the doll herself, but the memories attached to her, you know, I'm very sentimental about her. The other thing that's cool about Smart Doll is they're highly customizable. So if I could only have 10 dolls in my collection, there's a lot of different things that I could do with her to make her look different, freshen her up. I could buy all sorts of clothes for her, change her eyes, change her wig. So if I were dying to have like a new doll, I could just freshen up basically, or change up the look of the doll I have, and I think that would help with that urge to buy a new doll, if that makes sense. So that is number 10 on my list for the reasons I have stated, and that is my Smart Doll Summer. Number 9 on my list is this specific Chrissy doll. So this doll belonged to my mom, but I also played with her a lot when I was a kid. So my mom had her when she was a kid. I had her when I was a kid. This rose I put in her hair when I was a kid, actually. This rose, fun story, maybe a little inappropriate. My grandpa worked for the American Tobacco Company, and this rose, they had these roses like on cartons of cigarettes. So it was like some kind of promotion. When you bought a carton of cigarettes, you got these roses. So anyway, yeah, I used to play with these roses a lot when I was a kid, and I would put them in doll's hair and stuff. And I just left this one in there, and it's held up all the years, and it's kind of like it's one of the ways, first of all, that I identify, because I have a lot of Chrissy's in my collection. For a while there, if I saw a Chrissy at a thrift store, I couldn't leave her behind. Like, I was buying any Chrissy that I saw. But this is a way for me to differentiate and know which Chrissy is actually like the family heirloom Chrissy. And one of the things I love about Chrissy, my great grandma made this wedding dress, so I have a whole wardrobe for her that my great grandma made. Plus I have some of the original Ideal clothes. I think Chrissy is just such a beautifully sculpted doll. So she's a really great, fun doll from the 60s, 70s that is gorgeous. She is durable. I used to play with her in the bathtub. I used to play with her outside in the dirt, and she has held up all these years. You know, not too much worse for wear, we'll say. But because, again, this is a very sentimental, nostalgic thing for me, I just remember playing with her so much when I was a kid, and her being and when I was a little kid, because, you know, she was around since I was born, because she was my mom. So one of the very first dolls I would have interacted with as a child. And so I have such fond memories for that. But not only that, she's a beautiful doll. She also has this entire great wardrobe. She's another doll, like any doll you can redress. I know that, but she's more of a common size, I would say, and there's lots of patterns available for her on the Chrissy and Beth website. So if I were, you know, really wanting a new outfit or to give her a new look, that would be easy to do. Maybe not easy because I don't sew well, but if I were in a situation that, you know, I didn't have access to buy new doll clothes or stuff like that, and I could get those patterns online and make her new clothes, and that could be a new part of my hobby personality, I guess, if it came to that, making new clothes. But that's one of the things that I thought about too when I'm going through this, is like, you know, what could I get if I could only keep 10, how would they fulfill me, you know, with my collecting, with my compulsion to collect, like, because collector's going to collect, as Lindsay would say. So you always have this little, you know, I want to do more, I want to get more, I want to add to her. And so that's one of the things that I really love about Chrissy is, you know, the resources that are out there for her, the outfits that are out there for her. And not to mention, she's a beautiful doll. Like, I think I already said that, but she's beautiful and I'm sentimentally attached to her. So that's number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list is this little pongratz boy. So a boy doll actually made my list, which has shocked even myself. I knew a pongratz doll had to be on the list, and when I looked at my collection of dolls, I had to decide which one am I the most sentimentally attached to, and it's this guy, and I'm going to tell you why. If you've been on my channel for a long time and you've watched every video and you remember this stuff, you may remember why he's the most sentimental. But my husband went to Germany for work, and while he was there, he had ordered through a doll shop a pongratz doll for me because I had been wanting one, and they are less expensive over there because of you know, it is from Germany, and the US dollar to euro was really good at the time. Anyway, so he had ordered one for me, and he went to pick it up. Well, also at the store, this guy was there, and he had been in the store for 20 years, you guys. 20 years he had sat in this toy store for sale and nobody bought him. And my husband said when he went to pay for the girl that he had ordered for me, and he told the lady at the counter, let me see him too. And they were like really excited that somebody was interested in him because he had been there so long. And he said, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take him too. And that to me makes him so special because, first of all, I feel like he was waiting in this German toy store in Regensburg for me for 20 years. And like, he finally got to come home to his home, and he was just patiently there for 20 years. And I you know, I've watched all the Toy Story movies and the stuff where the dolls come to life and the stuffed animals come, you know, the Velveteen, all this stuff. And so I have that little bit of me that's like, he must be so happy. He must have been so patient sitting there at the toy store for 20 years waiting for somebody to adopt him. And what's even more special is it was a total surprise to me. So my husband got home from Germany. He's like, hey, I have a surprise for you. And this was the surprise. So it's really nice to have like a partner that really nurtures your hobby and cares about you enough. Like they say, if he wanted to, he would. Like, if he wanted to, he will. Yeah, if he wants to, he will, ladies and gentlemen. So if your partner wants to, they will. So anyway, yeah. So this is the whole story behind him, and the fact that my husband, you know, brought him home for me and just wanted, you know, me to have him. And I feel like there's a little bit of, what's the Taylor Swift song, Invisible String? Like, that's kind of what I feel like with this doll. You know, it might sound silly, but anyway. So I'm very sentimentally attached to him. So he does make the list, and I would definitely have to keep him because of the whole story behind him, and he's just so special. And I love pongratz dolls in general, so if I could only choose one, this is the one that I'm going to be keeping. Number 7 on my list is this particular Stella doll. So I have multiple Stella dolls. Connie Lowe is one of my favorite artists, and I have a lot of her dolls. So this one was, I thought it would actually be harder to choose, but when it comes down to it, this is the doll I would keep. Now, this is Stella Rose. I got her at Modern Doll in Louisville, Kentucky. I can't remember. Maybe that was 2021. I can't remember. Maybe 2022. But I was, at first when I got her wig just irritated me so bad because I could not get this to lay down. Once I embraced the fact that her wig just sticks up and it's just going to stick up, from there on, like, she had her own personality, and I have taken her to Modern Doll every year since, and Lindsay and I have fun with her. We do a scavenger hunt every year for the attendees of Modern Doll that we put on Facebook. I take a lot of pictures. She's been to Buc-ee's multiple times. So she is a little worse for wear. She's a little beat up. Her face up's not in great condition. I have some dolls from Connie that are much more pristine than her, but she is very loved, and it's just fun for me. She's a good travel size. She fits in a Blythe carrier, so I take her in a Blythe carrier when we go places. And yeah, it's a bit of a sentimental thing, and it's a bit of just fun because she reminds me of so many good times that Lindsay and I have had going to Modern Doll and like crawling around on floors of hotels, putting her in random places to take pictures, because what we do for the scavenger hunt is we find places in the hotel and we take Stella's picture in like random places, and the idea is for other people who are attending convention, like if they have downtime, they can walk around the hotel and try to find the same place and recreate the same photos, and that's always fun. A lot of people don't really usually participate in it, but people when they do and they post their photos, I love seeing them. Like I love seeing them. They're so much fun, and we have so much fun making the scavenger hunt. Even if nobody did it, we'd still make it because it's just it's a good way to get to know the hotel too when you're there walking around. But she has so much character now, and she just has her own personality, and when we travel, we have her with us, and she just really has her own personality, and it makes me so attached to her. And sentimental is probably the right word here, but I have an attachment to her it's a little different. It's not like a nostalgia. Like some of the other dolls I've talked about, there's a nostalgia there, or there's a sentimentality for a different reason. But with her, I'm just really attached to her. I think that's maybe the right way to describe it. I'm really attached to her because she just has this personality. I mean, just look at her. She just has this little personality that's so sweet, and she's got so much attitude, and she's like her own little person, basically. And she's just a lot of fun to take places and do stuff with. And, you know, I really enjoy her a lot. She's a beautiful doll, first of all. Like, she's very unique in terms of doll sculpts and like the way her face looks. And I like that a lot, the artistry behind her, but just the entire personality that she has an aura. Can a doll have an aura? If it can, she has one, and hers is just really magnetic, let me put it like that. So I love this doll very much, and she would definitely be in my list of keepers because, I mean, just look at her. Like, yeah, she reminds me of so many good times. Like, there's no way I could ever leave her behind. Next up is this Lavender Poupées girl, and I had a really, really difficult time actually choosing which one of her dolls I would keep, because I have the doll that, you know, travels in my purse, that's with me all the time. But if I could only pick one, and I have the jointed ones, which are really nice, I think I would go with this girl. She is the first big doll that I got from Lorena. She's wearing her autumn outfit right now. I need to get her changed for spring. But I just love her artistry. I love the fact that she carves everything. Like, this is truly a handmade doll. It is carved by the artist. It is painted by the artist. The hair is made by the artist. The outfit is made by the artist, down to the shoes, which are made by the artist. The only thing the artist doesn't make are the springs that are inside the doll holding her together. She has to buy the springs. And she doesn't make the paint herself. I mean, she doesn't make the paint herself, but she paints the doll. Does that make sense? Like, almost everything in this doll is truly, like, created by the artist, and I appreciate that so much. And the other thing that I like about Lorena is when you order a doll from her, and she's carving this doll, you're the person that she's thinking of when she's carving the doll. She knows that it's going to be for you. And so I feel like there's a lot of good intention, I guess, that goes behind that, like, into the creation of these. And so she would be one that's definitely, like, on my keeper list for that reason and so many more. And I just think she reminds me of, like, a beautiful fall day. I can't remember if I got her in the fall or not. I feel like maybe I did, because I think we took her like to the Blue Ridge Parkway and did pictures and stuff with her. Like yeah, we did that. So she reminds me of, like, again, good times, happy feelings. Like, and I really love this artist. Like, you know, talking to her, I've never had the privilege to meet her. Like, I've met Connie Lowe, love her. She's a wonderful person. And that helps too with the dolls. You know, I've mentioned I met Danny Chu. I've met Connie Lowe many times. I have not met Lorena, but when you have a connection with an artist and you're, like, able to talk with them, so I do message with her on Instagram from time to time, that makes you like the doll even more. I feel like it just gives you this other sense of, besides just loving the artwork, when you can love the artist behind the artwork as well, it just gives you this sense of, like, I don't know, just a sense of positivity. Maybe that's the word. You have this sense of positivity when you think about your doll, because you know that the hands that created the doll, you know how that person is. And I think that's just so lovely. And her dolls are, you know, it was really hard to pick one. I'll say that. Like, I had to think about it over and over and over again because of the rule of you can only choose one. And she was probably so far on the list, was the hardest one, because I could only have one of her dolls. This was the hardest choice so far between sub collections of my collection. So I just really, really adore this doll. And if I had to narrow it all down, she's going to be in that top 10 list. Number 5 on my list, if you've been on my channel, you knew she was coming. This is Mimoney. And Mimoney is so important to me for so many reasons. First of all, again, I know the artist, Lola. I'm friends with her, and that really helped. I really love her, and, you know, having that sort of connection with an artist really does help you love their dolls too. But before I really knew her well, I got this doll. Shira, I believe, actually coordinated it for us because I wanted one of these really badly. I think she did too. And I think she talked to her and was able to score us these. Is that right? No, she scored us some clothes. Shira was able to score us some clothes. These were pre-ordered. So I'm pretty sure my husband pre-ordered these, and he surprised me because he got me 2. He got me her, and he got me one in, I want to say she was Petal. But anyway, shortly after I got this doll, I got this doll right after this happened, I was diagnosed with MS, and so that was a really depressing time in my life, which I try to be positive, but it is what it is. It's a really hard diagnosis to take and try to figure out what you're going to do, how you're going to live your life after something like that. It's life-changing, we'll say that. So I was really depressed for about, I'll say, 6 months or so before I was able to kind of, like, get through it. But she was my constant companion during that time. So she's so cute. So a lot of dolls, one of the things I really like about her, a lot of BJDs, they don't have happy expressions. So that is something that even a friend of mine, actually, Lindsay, I've said her before many times, and you've seen her before. Her husband has this joke, like, none of the dolls are smiling, right? But she has a very happy face, and it's not just happy, she's super cute. She is another one that it's easy to find clothes for. So if I'm, if I only have 10 dolls and I want to change things up, I can change her wig, I can change her eyes, I can change her clothes, because she can wear most MSD stuff. I've actually got one of the big Kitty M's coming soon. I did pre-order her, so she's around this same size, so I can't wait to get her and add her to my because I like the bigger size better. A lot of people prefer the smaller size, like the Momonita size, which is like Barbie size, but I prefer this bigger size. But she's very sentimental to me. She's also like one of my favorite BJDs of all time, if not my very favorite, because she genuinely, it sounds funny to say this, genuinely, this piece of resin got me through one of the most difficult times of my life, because seeing her happy face and just being able to change her clothes and change her wig and actually take pictures of her, because I would take her out and take pictures, and just posing her, because up until that point I hadn't had a doll that you could like pose so well, that you could just kind of like, her dolls pose so incredibly well. The joint system is just so good, and I hadn't had that up until that point. And so you know, all of those things. She really helped me through a dark time in my life. So she is one that 100%, you know, no matter what happens, she is coming with me, you know, assuming it's not an apocalyptic, you know, incident, but she's coming with me. Like, she is so important to me for all those reasons. And not to mention, I just really like the doll herself. Like, she is a wonderful doll. If you don't have a mimoney and you're on the fence or what, she is such a great doll for so many reasons. Like, I got her hair all messed up, but she's such a great doll because she's so cute, but she can also be like pretty, and she, you know, she has that size that's really compatible with a lot of other dolls. So that's one of the things I really like about her. So anyway, that's my number 5. Number 4 on my list is my Porcelain Sally by Anna Salvador. Now, I'm not sure. You can tell me what you think about the rules. If I could take this with her or not. Her little dolly is part of her full set, but I'm not sure if per my rules I'd be allowed to take her. I think I could. I think she would be included as part of the accessories for this doll. But I love Anna's work so much. This was another really tough one because I had a really hard time deciding between her or basically all of the other ones that I have from Anna because I love her art so much. But I got this one from her last year at Play and Party, and she is porcelain. And I just really, she's the only porcelain one in the world, which is really exciting. I think she might be opening a pre-order for the resin one soon, so stay tuned for that. Just make sure to follow her on Instagram. But I love her artwork so much. So there's this, okay, let me tell you guys a story that I probably shouldn't tell, but I'm going to tell it anyway. There's this series on TikTok where this lady goes up to people in the streets and asks them, if you could have any piece of art in the world, what would it be and why? And if somebody asked me that, the piece of art I would choose is actually something that Anna Salvador made. It's her pink Alice. She made it years ago. And if I ever see that come up for sale or whatever, I will try to get it. But it's a one-of-a-kind piece and it's in a private collection, and I'm sure I'll never find it. But anyway, I would choose that as my art piece if I could, because I think the way her art just speaks to me, it's just, I love her style. I wish I could say something more intelligent and more deep about it than that, but I just love her style. I love what she creates with her hands. I love the way that she dresses them. I love the way that she paints them. I love her as a person. I visited her in Amsterdam. I got to see her studio, see the process up front, and I got to see what a lot of her inspiration is, which is really cool to me as somebody who is such a fan, to see like what inspired the artist to do this. And so I had to choose one of her dolls, right? This is the one that I would choose because she did make her from start to finish all by hand. And I was just lucky enough to be able to get her at the Play and Party show. So that was really, really exciting for me to be able to bring her home. And again, you know, meeting the artist and knowing them as a person and knowing how wonderful they are really helps connect you to their art. And so I'm very connected to her art, and I just love this girl. So she's another one. If I didn't make that rule for myself, I would probably take more of her dolls. I would probably take the Porcelain Jenny as well, because I know that she made that start to finish. And I would probably take Dorothy. I don't have a porcelain Dorothy, but I have a resin one. So like, I would probably pick 2 or 3 of her dolls if I didn't make the rule for myself. So anyway, yeah, that's Sally. And she's coming with me in my top 10 list of if I could only keep 10, because again, just knowing that she created her, you know, at home. Like, I've seen where this doll was made by hand. Like, I've seen the process, and that to me is just so incredibly thrilling as a collector of dolls and art to have that experience. So she is my number 4 on my list. Number 3 on my list is Blue Caterpillar from Pasha Pasha. So you guys knew a Pasha doll had to be on this list. If you've been here for a while, you knew that it had to be on the list. This is the most important Posha doll that I have, because if you have watched the unboxing, you know that this was gifted to me by somebody, and it was just such an incredible surprise. Posha had been talking about doing her Alice in Wonderland collection, and I told her, please do a blue caterpillar, please do a blue caterpillar. And when she did it, I actually I wasn't able to buy her at the time, and I had commented on the post that I loved her, because a lot of people had tagged me, or they were messaging me and they were talking about it because I had asked specifically for it. And I kind of said, you know, I love her, but the timing is wrong, because sometimes the timing is just wrong, right? You can't help it. And her dolls always sell so fast. And so this person, who I shall not name, was kindness is not even the right word, but wanted to make sure that I had this doll, and I have her now. And that has been one of the most amazing things, like, for me, because, you know, I love Posha's work so much, and I had really wanted this doll, and now I have her in my collection. She also, if you guys know or didn't know, her eyes do open and close, sort of like the new 4th gen dolls. So she has inside her faceplate, I'm just going to show you, because I don't show her very often, because I don't change her or really play with her a lot, just due to, I feel like she's just such a fine art piece. But you can see her eyes, she has like a little lever, and she can close her eyes like so. So I can't wait to get my hands on one of the 4th gen to see. But see, it's got the little lever in the back. I can't wait to get my hands on one of those and see. But again, timing was not right for me for this pre-order. So I'm actually going to save up, and hopefully sometime this summer or next summer be able to snag one of the just painted ones. I don't know which sculpt I want yet, but if you guys have seen her share the new Melanie doll, that's coming home to me. So that will be an unboxing you can watch here soon. I was supposed to go pick her up in person, but we ended up having to cancel our trip, because I'll get into that later, but in the unboxing. But anyway, this doll is so important to me. Again, I love the artist. I love her as a person. I've met her in person. I've been really, really fortunate to be able to meet so many of the artists that I admire and that I fangirl over, to be honest. Like, these are my celebrities, or these doll artists, and it's kind of crazy to think about, like, wow, I've been able to meet so many of them. And I'm thinking about going to Barcelona in September to meet the Nothing Sapiens artists, because I really would like to meet them, because they're some of my favorites too. But anyway, all right, so she is high on my list. I love Posha's work, so something from Posha had to be on the list. So when I look at Posha's dolls, this doll is the most sentimental to me. She's very special to me because she brought a new friend into my life that I didn't have before. So this person and I are what I would consider very good friends now. And you know, it's not somebody I had ever met, or, you know, that I didn't know before, but it's just kind of cool how it all worked out. Like, she had been introduced to Posha through me, and then this happened, and it was just an incredible, like, I ugly cried on YouTube when I got this doll, because it was so incredibly moving to me to have received her. And she's such an important part of my collection. She's part of the Alice collection. You know, she's done by Posha. She has open and closed eyes. She does have the play makeup, but I haven't played with it. I haven't put it on and off. That's not the right. I haven't applied it. That's a better way to say that. I haven't applied it, but I just love this doll so much. I love Posha's work, and she is the most sentimental of all the Posha's dolls for me, because she actually brought me a really good friend on top of having the doll itself. And so when I look at her, it reminds me of our friendship. And to me, friendships are always more important than the dolls. And so that has been one of the biggest gifts through doll collecting, is the friendships that I've made. And so that's just really, I don't know, that's the sentimental part of me loving this doll. So that's why she's the Posha that I chose, and that's why she's number 3 on the list. Number 2 on the list is this guy. So another boy doll made it to the list, which is kind of surprising, knowing my collecting habits. But this is one of the most important dolls in my collection. So the story behind him, this is it's a Small World animatronic head. That is the head. I won it at an auction from Van Eaton Galleries. That video is here on the channel if you want to go check it out. And I was so thrilled to get this head. I wanted to get a full animatronic, but I don't have $50,000 to burn on an animatronic, and this head was like $4,000, which is also a lot of money. Like, I'm not saying it's not, but compared to $50,000, it was more doable for me. I had always wanted, since I was a kid and I went to Disney World, I love dolls. Rode It's a Small World. It's a ride full of dolls. Like, I gotta have an It's a Small World animatronic one day. Like, how does this happen? It happened. Sandy Anderson from Anderson Art Dolls watched the video, and I had talked about in the video, I've got to get somebody to make a body for him. She offered to do the work with the help of her husband and her family. I think her daughter helped a lot too. Create this body for me. Like, this is the most incredible, like, act of just, I was just so excited. Sorry. And I had the option to get him jointed or not jointed, and I was like, well, while we're doing it, let's go ahead and joint him so that I could dress him. So he's got a big ball jointed body. He fits perfectly into, so I was gonna actually have somebody, I was gonna commission him like the actual African It's a Small World outfit. But I decided to just let him stay in, kids' clothes, because he's retired now, and, eventually I will get the traditional It's a Small World outfit. But for now, I just let him wear his kids' clothes. So he's just so important to me for so many reasons. First of all, I love the Anderson family. They're incredible. She's an incredible artist, and I love her dolls. So this one was another one of those, like, it kind of fell under the rule. I was like, I love her very much. I want one of her dolls. And this is kind of like a mishmash of that, like, because her family she created the body, and they printed it out, and they actually made me another one. But if I could only keep one, this is the one that I would keep. So he is just such an important doll in my collection. He is just incredible. Like, everything about, he makes me smile every day when I come in here and I sit down to work at my desk, because I work out of my doll room, and I see his face. I'm just so overjoyed to have him in my collection. Now, if I were like leaving the country to move to Costa Rica, let's say, I probably actually couldn't take him with me because he is so big. So I would probably just take his head, and then I would like take one of her dolls, like one of the Avas, and like put her inside the head and take, because if I'm being like strategic, or if I'm being, what's the word I'm looking for? Not logical, not strategic, practical. If I'm being practical, I really probably couldn't travel with him. So if I were in a situation where I could only keep 10, and it wasn't like because of space or financial reasons or whatever, like I had to leave with 10 dolls, probably really couldn't take him. So I would choose one of her smaller dolls that I have on hand to take. But if there was no space or weight limitations, this is number 2 on my list. He is just, like I said, so important to me. Reminds me of, again, sentimentally reminds me of the times I've had at Disney World that were very special to me. Reminds me of the time that the Anderson family came here to visit me. I have the videos about that on my channel, because they're just such wonderful people, and like just amazing friends. And I'm so excited that she comes to Modern Doll every year now, because I get to see her annually. So it was just, everything about it was incredible, and I'm just so grateful to them for creating his body and making like a genuine lifelong dream of mine come true, genuinely. And here he is, and like I said, when I see him every day, I just smile. So he is definitely on my keeper list. Now, can you guess who number 1 on my list is? If you've been here for a while, you just heard the cat. If you've been here for a while, you probably know who it's going to be, but stand by and we're going to show that one. Did you guess correctly? Number 1 on the list is American Girl Kirsten. This is the doll that started it all for me. I got her after I graduated 4th grade when I was a kid, and she was the doll that started that collecting mentality for me. Thank you, Pleasant Roland. Because when I read the stuff in the catalog about the trunk with the doll and all the outfits, I was like, this is what I want out of my life. This is it. And I got this doll, and it was the most thrilling. She was $82, okay? That was a ton of money back then, like a ton of money for a doll. And I had looked at the catalog since I was in 3rd grade. All right, so 2 solid years I wanted this doll. Probably my mom was like waiting to see if the interest died out before spending $82 on a doll. The interest never did die out. So for 2 solid years, I pined after this doll. I would read the catalogs. I remember the daycare teacher, because I was in daycare, reading the catalogs with me under the tree at daycare. Like, everything about this doll, like, I dreamed about and fantasized about. And when I finally got her, it was just such an incredible moment for me. So sentimentally, this is the #1 doll that I'm attached to from a sentimental perspective. And that's why she, like, if I were going to be buried, which I don't plan to be buried when I die, but if I were going to be buried, this would be the doll I'd be buried with. Just because she's such a huge part of what makes me, I guess, as a collector. The other thing about her is I do have a big wardrobe for her that my great-grandma created, and there are patterns, and again, it's one of those things where if I wanted to freshen her up, I can get new outfits. This is such a common size that I could get new outfits, shoes, accessories, all sorts of things for her to kind of keep her fresh. But I think so many of us are collectors because of the happy feelings we have from childhood or the nostalgia from childhood. And that's why this is the most significant and important doll for me in my collection. And also, if I could only keep one, this is the one, okay? If I could keep 2, I'd have to go back through the list we just talked about, and I'd have to really think really hard. Because like I said, those 10 were not in order, but she actually is in order. This is, if I could only keep one doll, it's this one. And she's the least valuable doll that I just showed you out of the last 10, maybe her and Chrissy. The least 2 valuable dolls on the whole list, but she's the one that I would keep because to me, she is invaluable. She's priceless. You cannot, because this is the actual doll. This is the actual Kirsten doll that I opened. The UPS driver brought her after, that summer after 4th grade graduation, and I tore into her box, and I was just so excited. I mean, I had been literally watching my driveway when I was a kid, waiting for the UPS truck to come. They were still brown back then too, they were brown back then. So like I was waiting for the big brown truck to come with my American Girl doll, and when she came, it was just, just an incredible feeling for me to get her. And then, like I said, she's just such an important part, honestly, of who I am today as a collector, and the way that I think about collecting, and the whole reason probably really that I collect now as it is. So she's very important to me, and she would be, if I could only do one, she would be the one. Like I said, the others, if I could do 2, I'd have to really think about that list and see, okay, which of those last 9 would I also keep? Probably Mimoney, but I don't know. I have to really think about it. But she's so important to me from a sentimental reason, from a nostalgic reason, from a who I am at the core of my person reason, that she's going to be #1 on my list. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you're interested in seeing the other 10 that were like in the top 20, let me know, and I'll try to make that video as well. I might make it anyway, just because it might be kind of fun to go through. But let me know in the comments if you could only pick 1 or 2 dolls, or if you know your 10, let me know in the comments whose those would be, because I always find that to be such an interesting topic to talk with other people about, because I get dolls and I play with them, and they may be stuff that I show on Instagram all the time, and I'm always getting new dolls in, but something like this makes you really stop and think about, like, what do I value in my collection? Like, even though I haven't touched her in years, even though I hadn't changed Smart Doll Summer in probably 2 years, I haven't changed my Mimoney in a while, I never changed the pongratz doll. Like, when I look at stuff like that, you think, what in my collection, what makes it important to me, each thing. So those are the things that are important to me, like mainly from a sentimental sort of standpoint of, and you heard the stories behind each one and the justification behind why I would keep each one of them. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I know this was really long-winded and a little bit rambly, but yeah, hopefully you could get through it anyway. So we will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. I want to say a huge thank you to my patrons from Patreon: Lindsay S., Leah W., Doreen Z., Janice H., Mercedes W., Bear Sunflower, Diane B., Shorna R., Stephanie W., Shalane C., Louisa's Knickknacks, Marty G., Lynn P., Cindy L., and Sabrina A. Your support helps me continue making great dolly content. For more information on how you can become a supporter of this channel, please see the link in the video description. Thank you.